I'm so excited. I have great healers down in Punta de Mita, Mexico, where I've owned a condo for 14 years. It's like we acquire this law of accumulation. Part of what we acquire in life is people set, and part of that, in my opinion, is like healing team. Like, who are the people when stuff breaks, or when we need a deep healing journey? And so my friend Greg, he's an osteopath and an Ayurvedic practitioner and a massage therapist since he was 18, and now he's close to 60. He's got these like incredible, yeah. Yeah, he's a lifer. He did so much like deep realignment, and it allowed like Apana Vayu to reset, and I don't have swelling anymore. So phenomenal. Yeah, I know. One of the things I learned as an Ayurvedic medicine practitioner that I think has just been a tremendous advantage to me in my adult life is like how to receive a lot. So in Ayurvedic postpartum care, in traditional care, the woman's massage for 40 days. Yeah. Take that in. Yeah. And so I did that with Indy. Like I set it up locally, and like you don't even need like you don't have to pay like $100 an hour certified, massage therapist. Like you really just need someone to move your body, as like anyone with good intuitive healing touch can do. And that just taught me the power of investing when the body's going through a deep transformation. And so it's also why, like during FMD, or when we do gut health challenge, or like next month when we're doing the Ayurveda detox, like investing in body work or investing your own time. Because I also probably, this week probably put in at least 6 hours of my own hands-on healing, at least. And I wouldn't know this stuff if I hadn't, become a wellness pro. Like I wouldn't have known this stuff if in Ayurvedic medicine, this wasn't, just like how to have a body 101. But what I find, especially as I think I've had 5 surgeries now. I've had ACL, meniscus, tibia bone tumor, uh, hysterectomy, and now total hip replacement. Which, like, I'm not anyone who knows me. I'm like not like the biggest fan of Western medicine, but I'm super appreciative of it when I need it to be functional. It's like in each of those, any kind of like deep healing, accident, injury, trauma, surgery, it puts the body into a need to like go into the cave and heal, like go deep into the self and heal. And we want to, I find so many people, they get support from they get support in like all the wrong ways. And it's kind of like when we're doing a gut health challenge, we can then not know how to go inward and get the actual support we need, whether that's from our own hands or whether that's from just like very targeted people in our community doing very specific things. So back to the postpartum example, one of the things I've seen is like people bring a lot of food to the house, but that often a postpartum woman has very delicate digestion, which is like why in the first 42 days of Ayurvedic postpartum, it's a very specific diet to rekindle Agni. Because otherwise what happens is the woman's body builds ama, and then that ama goes straight through to the baby. And now we're generating an amagenic baby within like the first 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But we can take these gut health resets, and we can take any sort of like accident, injury, trauma, even a loss, like a loss of a loved one, to help us like move back inwards into svadhyaya, like into self-study, into svastha, into like being deeply seated in the self. And then from there, notice like what exactly do I need? And it's usually like, it's really, it's usually quite targeted. Like I need ginger, I don't just need tea. Like I need, ginger turmeric tea with a little bit of, licorice root. And that kind of developing that sense of self-authority, which to me, I think is a really good interpretation of svastha. It's like seated in the self, but it's also seated in the tissue of the self, seated in all 7 dhatus of the self. So you have command over your physiology, so and there's unlimited or infinite depths of knowing thyself, right? That Hippocrates commandment of know thyself. And so that is developed in times of healing. Like that is developed when you're doing internal surgery, which you're doing when you're fasting. And so that's why, like, noticing the emotions that are coming up, noticing the cravings that are coming up, noticing the outdated patterns that you just are like, over it. I know that's not good for me. I know that's more of my past than it is of my future. And if we don't actually have the time and the space to internalize that, because that is a digestive process, because you know how it is, you're like, you know something, and then you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna do it again, just this time, you know, and then the patterns just, it's right back at you, but it's kind of worse because you really knew better. Like you really knew better from having gone within, from having had the realization again, from recommitting to self. And so the more in, you know, this emergence of our gut health reset, the more you can notice, like, what are my lessons learned from the last 5 days? What did percolate from the depths of my ground of being to the surface of my awareness? Like, what did break through in the dream state? Or why is this memory coming up right now? Or like, what is in the, you know, the food noise, or what is in the emotional noise that I actually need to process out of, you know, process through the process of digestion, not just through pushing it away. It's not an elimination process. It's a digestive process. And then after digestion comes elimination, right? Consumption, digestion, then elimination, then the ground of emptiness, like then this what the Buddhists call shunyata, then this, or what the yogis call purnatva, right? This fullness that's full of, it's a contained emptiness, and the emptiness isn't dead space. It's not the void. It's full of Shakti Prana. It's scintillating energy. It's the energy that gives you the experience of the bliss body. It's the energy that heals. It's the energy of love. All right, I'm going to put us in breakout rooms. If you can't go in a breakout room, just put your name in the chat, please. And I'll put us in, oh wait, I say this like I can do it. Yes, I can do it. All right, we're going to go in groups of, there'll be like either 2 or 3 people in your room. It's going to take me a minute to get everybody's note takers. I'm kicking the note takers into room 6. And then that helps me see who's really here. I tell you, breakout rooms got a little bit more. There we go. Okay. Yeah. A little bit more, all of that. I'm almost done. Move to 4. Okay. So the questions that I'm going to give us, I'm going to put them in the chat. And the first question is like, what is now like clearly outdated for you? Meaning like, this is what in Club Thrive we call the 80%. So it's like whenever you're going to a new floor, Pareto's principle follows, where it's like 20% of what you're doing is like rocket, like what do they call, like rocket busters or whatever, like things, the fuel tanks on the rockets that get you to the next floor, right? And then the 80% is just, it's kind of, it's not bad. It's not things that are bad. It's just the, like the not right now. And some of them are bad. Like some of them you're like, yeah, I totally know better. Totally know better on that one. And then others are like, you know, it's just not right for what's next. It's just not, it's just part of the noise for what's next. Okay, so that's the first question, is what is clearly outdated for you? And that's going to be the 80%. For those of you who don't know Pareto's principle, just in a nutshell, this economist noticed that in fields in Italy, I don't know, it's maybe close to 100 years ago, that 20% of the seed generated 80% of the crop. So it's like 20% of the nutrients that you're actually eating generate like 80% of what your body makes into tissue. It's another way of looking at it. Okay, so what's clearly outdated for you and what is in the emergent self? And that's going to be the 20%. Now, just because it's, it doesn't have to be brand new that's in the emergent self. This might be of like strength to leverage that you've been leveraging for a long time. Like Betsa's helping me with PR, and it's like we can leverage my ability to write books, right? Combined with the amount of data I can now process with AI, and that's clearly part of the emergent self. All right, so whatever the answer to those two questions is, we're going to be in breakout rooms for 8 minutes. So 4 minutes each. So each question gets 2 minutes roughly in there. Don't be anal about it, but I will close the breakout rooms in 8 minutes. Okay, see you soon. Hi, you need a breakout room.
I do.
No. Are you, oh, you're on a side. Okay, let me add a room. Sorry, guys. I just need to add a room today. And then Marcy assigned to 3. Okay. Hey, Catherine and Virginia, everyone's in a breakout room. And I can see you guys are here. The questions, I'll just add a breakout room. I mean, they're going to be back pretty soon, but I'll just add a breakout room. And the questions are in the chat, so I'll repost them again in the chat. Let me grab, because I know when you join, you get kicked out of, you can't see the prior chat. Okay, so there is that, and I'll move you guys in, and then I'll see you in a few minutes. Hi.
Hello, it's time.
Should I kick them all out? I'll give them a minute. Should I send people the Sacred Ambition Assessment or to my calendar? I wonder, I should maybe just send them to my calendar. What would you want to do if you weren't in the club at this point? Start with the assessment or go?
I would say I'd want to be on your calendar.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And then have the assessment as a bonus, right? Because I love taking quizzes
Yeah.
and seeing how I am.
There's Irene. She's in Barcelona. We finally reconnected. That was really a blast. All right, you guys, I'm gonna end the breakout rooms.
It was great. I was with Irene in the breakout room.
Oh, you guys met?
Yeah. I can relate to her situation.
I'm psyched because I'm supposed to go to Barcelona January 2027 for this like Ayurveda and AI conference. It's like holistic medicine, particularly focused on Ayurveda and AI. I was like, is this a conference that was like made for me? One of the yoga health coaches from years ago is putting it on with some other people. Okay, cool. Welcome back, you guys. So what came up? Now we just look for some patterns. Like what came up in the 80%, what came up in the 20%. Anyone want to share? Anyone hear similarities in their own room?
Yeah, for me, Kate, it just came up that the lower level foods are just, I don't need them. I don't want them. It doesn't feel like a big challenge, but yet I'd been eating them. So like I got back into sprouts. I got back into my kraut. I got back into kimchi. I'm like, oh, yeah. So and it's not hard. I'm like, oh, I have evolved. I just forgot for a minute.
Yeah.
So that came back really strong. And then also in one of the first calls you said, what are you resisting to do, or what are you putting off? That's how you said it. What are you putting off doing? And it was when we were talking about lymph and adipose. And I was like, wow, that's a big one for me. Like, I know I've gotten a lot better and it's still there pretty strong. Like I do put things off and I procrastinate them, which increases my vata. And then I'm seeing this adipose layer on me. And doing that lymph drainage was mind blowing to me. Like my brain,
fast, right?
my brain has cleared so much. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, it can clear. So now I'm all about lymph and just kind of understanding that and working that layer. So the resistance is a big one for me. Is like every day I'm going to say, what am I putting off? And then just move to it. So that's my big takeaway right now. Those are my two.
Right. Who can relate? Just like quick show of hands. Like, yeah. I'll put a 1 minute video in the chat that goes into this like mucus, which in Ayurveda is called ama. And if we start to understand just how clogged our lymph is just from modern life, like even if we're on our game, there's still a level, right? Just from like, we're just not living in the jungle. Yeah. Thanks, Laura. Awesome. Anyone else want to chime in? 80%, 20%, what's now apparent? Less is more. Is everyone kind of getting the less is more vibe? Yeah.
I'll
And
share.
that's what I meant in the beginning too. Okay, cool. It's like, because less is more, what is like what you take in, what that 20% in is highly specific on all levels. And like what in Club Thrive, we look at like people set, skill set, mindset, tool set. And like all of that gets very specific. And that's what opens up so much time. Like people often come and they're like, well, I don't really have time to do like one more thing. It's like, yeah, we know. That's why like the first thing we do is identify the 80%. And then that's what opens up time. Like first thing we do is identify like the 20% of people that are actually moving you forward. And that's what they get to come with. And it's not like you're cutting people out of your life. It's just, you're just taking less of your focus and energy and time. And then that allows the right people to start to come in without feeling too busy. You actually feel more spacious. This is what in Ayurvedic medicine, the essence of ether is. When there's Shakti Prana in the ether, there's the space is not dead space. It's supercharged, alive space that supports you. And that's what we do with like that future you sort your stuff. Is like your entire environment should actually be a very alive Shakti Pranic space. Lynn was my dedicated assistant when in the healing condo, which is in the next building over, that I've created this like 21-day healing experience for both Club Thrive members and non-members. It's like we decided to like we had to like move stuff around and then charge the space. And we charge the space once the right things are in there and the 80% is out, then we charge it. We charge it with ritual. And then you just feel the energy, like you feel upon a value ground and you feel upon a value expand. Yeah. Okay. Julie Lopez.
Yeah. So what is clearly outdated for me is overeating. I mean, I love to say I eat healthy, but I'm like, oh, I'm eating healthy, but it felt so, I can't believe the last time I actually felt hungry. And I think what's outdated really is the mindset that, I see on Instagram that you need this many grams of protein and you got to push and this and, so I got into the routine of I have to eat a certain amount because I'm told that I have to have this many protein grams. And so over the last 2 years, because I've been brainwashed in that I've been overeating. And so this week I was like, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, wait, it's not time to eat. Wow, let myself. And I think, was it you, Kate, that said in a podcast sometime that it's like a wood burning stove and you shove the wood in and you shove the wood in and you shove the wood in. There's no air for it to move. I've told people that this week and they're like, wow, that totally makes sense. That's what's happening in my body. And I didn't want to do this, but I did. And it's not about the weight and it's just about my belly, and I'm feeling so much better and I'm down and I'm feeling the energy I have is insane. And I thought I was just being lazy lately. I thought, what's wrong with me? I'm so tired all the time. And yesterday I was like I am right now, like bonkers it's awesome. I'm so excited.
Oh, congratulations. Yeah. And that to me really ties into what we talked about yesterday with the altruism. Like when we see us on the new floor, So like one of the first things we do in Club Thrive is we map the 80/20s of like what have been your past releases, next identities. And once we see what's on the next floor and we're able to release that 80%, like just that feeling of carrying the outdated past into the future, it just lets go. And then that in yogic language, the four aims, that liberated self, the moksha self, it just is so free. And then that infuels the dharmic self, which is like, oh, now it's so much easier just to hear intuition. I'm centered, I'm clear, I can hear intuition. And then there's obvious next action. And then that goes into kriya. Like there's no karma anymore because we're not carrying the outdated pattern. Karma is not carrying the outdated past into the future. Kriya is completely along spontaneous action. And you just demonstrated, Julie, exactly what that feels like. Yeah, congrats. Marcy.
Any tips on easing into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, so what's going to happen, you guys, is like I don't know, I'm just going to go back to like the Prolon kit, which I think I talked about on the workshop, how it's like, here's 5 days, here's all the packets, and all you do is add water. And it's like this very controlled environment, but that's not really how the body works at all. And I love how Laura shared the remembering self, right? The remembering of like, oh, I know how to sprout. Oh, I make sauerkraut. Like, I know how to do these things. I know how to do self-massage. I know how to use my foam roller. Like, I know how to take myself for a walk without my ear pods in. Like, I know all these things. And so that'll happen tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And when you're, and I love Julie's her example of like that a posteriori, a priori, a posteriori in Latin. Like when you're learning something from the self, your own experience, a priori. When you're learning from somebody else, a posteriori, there's this like bit of it. You're already in the monomaya kosha. You're already in the cognitive mind. And so when you're already in the outside in cognitive mind with information, it often disrupts the intuitive mind, which is the Vijnanamaya kosha, the intuitive self, from the pranamaya kosha and the annamaya kosha, which is the energy body and the food body. And the mind can just be like someone else will be like, oh, you should eat more, or oh, we should go do this. And like the first hit you get is like, no, I should stay home. Like, no, I'm not done yet. Like, no, I'm not interested. But we'll be like, oh, for this person's feelings, or because this is what we normally do, or whatever. Now we're just going to carry the past into the future again. And then we'll suffer. And it's a mental affliction in Ayurveda. Like you literally afflict yourself. And not for the better, but for the like, you just pull yourself back into that 80%. It's what Benjamin Hardy, who's a behavioral psychologist, he calls you just fall to your prior floor. You just like face plant back on your old floor. And then you see your new floor and you're like, I knew better. That's what in Ayurvedic medicine is prajnaprata. Yeah. Right. Failure of the intellect, which I don't really like that failure of the intellect. It's more of like fail to live into the embodied wisdom. And
Crimes
it's
of
not,
wisdom.
yeah. And fail isn't like we have to reprogram fail. And I like design thinking for this first attempts at learning. So we get to say like, okay, now we pause and we do recalibration, right? We play the whole scene back again. So say one of you, or say we overeat, or say we, over socialize, or say we over scroll, or like whatever it is, where you're like, you get that hit, like I'm done. And then you're right back at it. You're right back in the old pattern and you knew better. Well, the whole thing with first attempts in learning and mental rehearsal, and these are a lot of skills that we just teach people to automate in Club Thrive. Like this to me is like habit evolution 101. And that's why it's such a good investment to like invest into automating the mindset part of that mindset, people set, skill set, tool set. Because once you automate that, it becomes much more automatic to be like, okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to rewind the tape. I bet there's some like Gen Yers here who are like, what is a tape? I don't get the rewind the tape. So we used to have audio cassettes and you had to rewind it. You couldn't just press. So you rewind the tape in your mind and you see those micro decisions and you see those, the mind will actually pull back to say, this is what the heart wanted, or this is what the gut wanted, or this is what the tongue wanted, or this is what, and I overrode that with the past going into the future. And so as you replay that, then you just pause and you rewrite the memory to say like, well, what was the choice that, like I did, like again, Pragya Prana, where you reverse that, like, what does my embodied wisdom already know? And then the mind will flash something, or the heart or the gut or something will flash like, oh, I should have done that. So then you actually mentally rehearse, AKA visualize. It's the same words, say different things, same thing, different words. You mentally rehearse or visualize yourself taking the aligned action. And again, you guys all know the thing is like, does the brain really know the difference between taking the action and mental rehearsal? The studies on that are phenomenal, showing that like, even if you mentally rehearse exercise, your body gets stronger. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. So you mentally rehearse making the aligned action, taking the aligned action, and then that builds that muscle of intuition, of that Vijnana Maya Kosha. So I don't know. I mean, I've been doing this for so long. I've had people like literally just stop eating for a few days after. Like they're just like, I'm not going to eat. Our Ayurveda 101 is like, don't eat if you're not hungry. If there's no Agni, and you can stimulate Agni through like ginger tea, through taking ghee. There's a lot of ways to stimulate Agni through exercise. I love exercise, sunlight, all of that will stimulate Agni. You can stimulate Agni through truly moving through the whole fasting cycle. So if your body is like halfway through a autophagic reset and you disrupt that because like, oh, I did day 5, now we're done. Now we're not meeting every day anymore unless you're in Club Thrive, and then we'll meet on Monday. It's so easy just to slip right back in, but that body was not all the way through the process. I saw this. I was fortunate to work in an Ayurvedic medicine clinic in my 20s. And it's like people doing great, and we'd send them home, and it was just like fall flat on their face, or just, like just backlash. So the more you can just do what's working, notice like what's working, what's not working. So what's working, 20%, what's not working, 80%. Stick to that. And what we find is that like people set in Club Thrive, that's what replaces willpower. Because if most of the people around you, this is the whole like surround yourself with the 5 people who blah, 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 right? If your people set on a body level, on an intuition level, on a skill set level, on a bliss body level, on a pranic level, if they're not like lining up, then you're just working against yourself. And that's why like every tribe in history there's a natural 80-20 to people sets. There's a natural hierarchy that happens in nature. That's why there's always like a priestly caste. Doesn't matter what tradition, what religion. Doesn't matter our belief in casting or not, right? There's always a separation of like the wheat from the chaff, of the emergent people set from the mainstream culture. And then what mainstream culture is doing is usually taboo to the innovative people set. And what the innovative people set is doing is taboo to the mainstream culture. And the more we get that, it's easy. Then it's like, how easy can it be? It's like, if you want them, it's like, I was coaching a member yesterday, and she was like just falling back into old mindset patterns, and it was scarcity and money and stuff. And I was like, you really just focus on like being resourceful for anything you want. Instead of saying no, not later, like, oh, like later, it's like, oh, no. You prioritize the now. And then you get the mind, which is so powerful, and not just in the brain. You get the mind, which is also a field, and it's in the collective consciousness. And you get the mind, you put the mind to work to say, go find the resources. Go find the resources for me to do exactly what I want, exactly when I want to do it. And that was a very hard skill for me to learn, like that. And that was not fast for me. And it required a lot of investment, a lot of reprogramming. I mean, most of you have immigrant parents, or immigrant grandparents, or immigrant great grandparents, or people who lived through the Depression, which was, 2 to 3 generations ago for you, or maybe for some of you 1 generation ago. Right. So there's so much, because we're just not living in that time space right now. And those survival skills that were absolutely essential then, deep bow for our ancestors for passing the genome forward, for passing their 20% forward. Right. But then it's like, okay, and now, ata, and now. All right, you guys. You have my link in the chat if you want to do a future you, and we can map out what you do with us in a year, whether you're wellness pro or whether you're just a human who wants to experience a tremendous breakthrough. And I just thank you all. It was like a blast. It was really a blast to just be here with you all. And yeah, thanks for being part of the Gut Health Challenge. Bueno, as they say.